Today, we're going to dive into this really incredible story. It's about a father and his son, and a conversation that honestly, it just opens up this much deeper truth about who we are, what our purpose is, and, well, what love really looks like. Okay, so let's get right into it. The whole thing kicks off in this quiet, intimate moment, a conversation between a father and son that kind of changes everything. And it all starts with the father sharing this deep, personal regret he's been carrying around.
Wow. You can almost feel the weight of those words, can't you? I mean, it's a feeling so many of us can probably relate to, this sense of not being present enough because work just demands so much. For the father, all that time at the store was a source of guilt, time he felt was stolen from his son. But here's the twist. The son saw it in a completely different light. And this is where that huge gap between their perspectives becomes so clear. While the father was seeing absence, the son saw a classroom. He explains that because of the store, he didn't just see his father, he got to witness him in action. He wasn't learning from lectures, he was learning by watching. Watching his dad show strength in a crisis, courage every single day, and real compassion for anyone who walked through that door. He learned what love really means by seeing his father live it. And this is what's so powerful. The son's ultimate goal wasn't to get more time with his dad, but to become more like his dad. The very work that the father thought created all this distance was actually the thing that forged his son's entire character. Isn't that something? So hold on to that story, because this very human moment is the perfect setup for understanding something way more profound, a core idea from the gospel. Let's dig into that connection. You have to understand, this is a massive shift in thinking. Jesus isn't talking about God as some far-off emperor or a disconnected lawmaker. No, he's revealing this intimate, personal, parent-child relationship. And this isn't just some casual comment he makes. Get this, in a super short passage, just 14 verses, Jesus calls God Father 8 times. 8! That's not an accident. He's hammering the point home. It tells us everything we need to know. For Jesus, his whole identity, his entire mission, it all flows directly from this deeply personal relationship. I mean, it's literally in his name. Jesus means God saves. And why does he save? Because he is the Son. His whole identity is wrapped up in perfectly showing the world who the Father is. He acts just like the Father acts. And this deep connection leads Jesus to say something that, at first it sounds a little weird. It really challenges how we might think about God's role in the world and totally redefines what divine work even is. Jesus says, "My Father is at work until now." And that might make you pause for a second. Wait a minute. Doesn't the Bible say God rested on the seventh day? It sounds like a contradiction, but figuring out the difference here is the whole key. So let's break it down. God rested from the initial physical work of creation. That job was done. But the work of mercy, of compassion, of love, that never ever stops. It's this constant, nonstop effort. And that is the work that Jesus says he's a part of. So when you see Jesus healing people, putting broken things back together, giving life, he's not breaking some rule about resting. He is actively showing everyone what the Father's unending work of love looks like in the real world. His actions are like a living, breathing portrait of the Father. And what this all really boils down to is that Jesus isn't trying to just throw out the old rules. He's trying to show everyone what the true heart of those rules has always been. Now, this was a radical idea back then, when religious law could feel like this heavy, rigid set of rules that didn't always care about people's suffering. Jesus is showing that the real law of God is always, always rooted in justice, mercy, and compassion. So all of this brings this powerful cosmic idea right back down to earth, right back to where we started, with a simple story about a father and a son. Because this whole divine parallel, it's not just about understanding Jesus, it's actually an invitation for us. So what's the takeaway? What does any of this mean for you and me? Right here, right now. Well, the connection is incredibly direct and deeply personal. The invitation is on the table for every one of us to step into that exact same kind of relationship. The invitation is to see ourselves not just as followers, but as sons and daughters of the Father, to try and line up our lives with his work, just like Jesus did. And when we accept that invitation, Our lives, often in these really quiet, simple ways, just like that father in his store, our lives can become a source of hope for other people. Through our own actions, maybe, just maybe, people can catch a small glimpse of his mercy, his patience, his strength, and most of all, his unending love. And that brings us right back to the beginning, full circle. Just like the son in our story hoped to become his father's son, maybe the ultimate hope for each of us is that one day we can say with real gratitude, I hope I have become my father's child. And that's something to think about long after this is over.